Hey, besties. Let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Hey, besties. I have a new you know what? Honey, let's get into it. You see the thumbnail. Okay, so Ming Lee went live on her channel yesterday. Didn't even know she had a channel, but how would I? I don't even follow her on Instagram. But honey, she says she stands 10 toes down on her apology to Jackie. And she feels like Chantal manipulated her twice, actually. She said from the time they got back from Hawaii until she had her event, with the flat irons, she said that was a span of 3 weeks. And she feels like Chantel could have came back and apologized to her, Evelyn, and Brandy and said, hey, I apologize. I did push my mother first. Then we find out, besties, that Chantel unfollowed Ming Lee on social media. So you know when somebody unfollows you, honey, they are not fooling with you at all. Okay? Then Ming Lee says that Doug Christie, Jackie Christie's husband, he wanted to see the footage of the altercation so that he can decipher who was in the wrong. Ciao. Ming Lee goes on to say that Carlos King interview that she did last week, the thumbnail says, I take accountability. Well, I think maybe that was Carlos saying that. Because Chantel did not take any accountability for anything. And she says Jackie told her from the jump when they started the season, probably before they started filming, she told her that she was not doing this with her daughter and to stay out her business. That's what she said. So Ming Lee goes on to say that she too has had a rocky relationship with her mother. She said her mama Vicky just got back cool where they can tolerate each other within the last 2 to 3 years. Okay. So, but she says, and even when they wasn't cool, there was never a time where she thought she would be able to stay breathing and push her mother at the same time. Honey, it ain't gonna happen. She said she would have been knocked into the next week, and we all know that. We all have heard that. And she would not have been around to interview with Carlos King had she pushed her mother. She says her mother is about it, honey. She said every friend she has had, her mother has cussed out. I'm like, well, what kind of mama? Well, you don't have to ask because if you saw her and if you watched her live at the end, her mother's on there, and I'm like, oh, she got that voice, that cigarette and drink voice, that raspy cigarette voice, like a dragon lady voice. Girl, they getting ready to do something. They getting ready to collaborate. Oh my goodness. I'm like, there is only one Mama D. Everybody wants to be. Is Mama D the first mama that hit reality TV and just made a mark for herself? Or was it Mama Joyce? I think it was Mama D, then Mama Joyce, then Jim Jones' mama Nancy tried to do something. It's like everybody's mama want to just Wanda from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Am I missing anybody else? But it's like now here come Mama Vicky trying to do it. They were talking at the end of Ming Lee's video. Child, Mama Vicky got a whole bunch of children, honey. I think she has 11 kids. I think she said 7 of one gender and 4 of the other. I don't remember. I was like, ooh, how could you? And she answered how she could and how it happened. I'm not repeating that. But if you want me to give you a hint, that song with Cardi B and Meg the Stallion? Yeah, that one. So she says Chantel did not take any accountability and she is wrong. because she said there will never be a time where any of her friends could disrespect her mama, and she's pretty sure they will want to because she's they her mama then got about it with them, right? So she just feels like Chantel owes her, Brandy, and Evelyn an apology for lying to them and for lying to us about that interview about taking accountability. But she says she hopes that they can heal and move onward and upward from all of the mess. But we don't even know what the core thing is. But child, let's talk about Carlos. Carlos said, I hear you guys. You say I didn't hold her accountable for anything in my interview. Some people have said that they are the Chantel Christie of their family. He hears you too. Child, Carlos don't care what you're talking about. He like, thank you for clicking on my video. He said, honey, they have ran the numbers up on this video. Let me check, honey. He said he was on Nene Leak's level. He was on Lisa Ray level. Let's see what the video is doing today. The oh, hold on, let me put that on mute. Wait. So he said the video is doing so well, honey. He didn't even pop up today with the new interview. What I see here, let me turn my volume down. He has over 63,000 views. And he kept talking about the comments. He said, y'all keep commenting. I got about 10,000 comments. And he's okay with you having your opinion. He's happy that you are voicing it because at the end of the day, he getting paid from it, okay? He says he has a platform with him and Claudia and Dustin, and they all have difference of opinions, and they can come together and be okay. He said it is fine that you have a difference of opinion. The comments are only, from what I see, there's only 729 comments, but yeah, the views are up 63K. So he's like, yeah, keep running it up. Thank you. Keep running it up because I'm making my money. So he explains how he prays before his interviews, and he is just not going to sit here on his platform and check nobody about nothing. He doesn't hold place cards because he doesn't want the questions on the cards to be a barrier from him and his guests. He asks the questions and he lets them answer. He doesn't want to attack his guests. Pretty much, he wants celebrities to feel comfortable with coming to him for their interviews. He wants this to be a safe space, okay? But Carlos, the problem that we have, or I have, I'm gonna speak for myself, is that you were helping her answer. You were helping her figure her things out. You wasn't just asking the questions. Oh, sorry, my phone fell. He said before he did this interview, he did his research. So he wanted to know what everybody was thinking and saying, and that's where he got it, the questions that he wanted to ask her. But you were answering for her, you were helping her, and then he kind of wanted to bring in his own experience growing up, as he say, as a feminine gay boy at 7 with a very alpha male father who's never dealt with any gay people. And his dad told him at 7 to stop acting like a girl. And that shook him. It messed with his self-esteem, his confidence. And through his journey of coming out and being, finding freedom in his preference, he said he had to stop and figure out that he needs to walk in his father's shoes and understand him. So he wanted the raindrops to know, like, if you have any kind of issues with your parents, just give them grace, ask them questions, get to know them more so you can figure out why they are the way they are. I'm like, you need to be telling Chantel that, okay? But that's what Carlos had to say. So moving into the interview, Carlos goes live on Mondays with Claudia and Dustin. Why am I trying to say Justin? I know his name is Dustin Ross, but they go live and they review. Now they're reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville now that Roa is off. So Marceau was a guest on the show. So what I want to touch on, let's get to Jalen. Let's go back. I want to cover some things, and now that I know. So in my recap, I was wondering how old Jalen was when Kimmy and Maurice got married, because I got to, and if I didn't say it, I apologize, besties. I thought it afterwards. And that's pretty much what you know what is all about. It's just the afterthoughts of things. My mother married my stepfather when I was 12. Now, for any child who has grown up, and like I said, their parents were not together, and what we did find out, because I did ask, his father, Jalen's father, is around, but not really around. Marceau said he has never met the guy, but so he kind of was like, he around, they talk, but yeah, not really. It sounds like so. My parents, got married when I was 12, my stepfather. And when you are a kid, 12 is a little, that age between 12 and like 16, 17 is really tough for any kid. Hormonal, changing, growing, just the things. Now, if you grew up as a kid and it was just you and your mother, like Jalen, he may be spoiled rotten, right? And I don't think I was spoiled, but it's just been you and your mom riding for 12 whole years, right? You guys got your rhythm, you know what to do, you got your independence, you got a little freedom, you're doing things. And then all of a sudden at 12, you're almost grown, and here come this man with his dictatorship style of raising, because he thinks he needs to replace your father. Child, me and my stepfather, we bumped heads for a long time because the transition was tough. It is really tough to blend families. Oh my goodness, it is tough. The stories I could tell you, but I won't talk about that today. So I'm just thinking, Jalen is used to just him and Kimmy, and that was probably hard to bring in a man and his son and his ex-wife and all that. It's just like, oh, mama, we was doing cool, and then you just did all of this, And so Marcel was explaining what kind of stepfather Maurice is. Well, we know he's an attorney, right? And he doesn't listen. So that's the problem there. He doesn't listen. He don't listen to Kimmy. And so he says, he's been trained through, his education to listen, to defend his point, right? And he listens to defend his point. Did I say that? Okay. Yeah. So that's the problem. So when he has to be confronted, when Maurice has to be confronted with someone else's opinion, he doesn't really know how to handle that. It's hard for him to listen to Jalen. It's hard for him to listen to Kimmy when they come at him with a different idea that's not like his, because he's so used to arguing his point. Okay. Wow. And so they were saying how, yeah, he said, Jalen said you are more of a father figure and this and that and that and that. And so Marceau said, well, of course he would say that because it's easier to buy ice cream than milk. I don't have to reprimand him. He says he raises his kids differently. Like he doesn't do the whole enforcing thing. Like if he tells you to do something, he don't stand there and badger you and make you do it and force it down your throat and want you to jump up like a frog and do it now. Marceau understands that you're gonna act like you didn't hear him, and it's gonna take you a while to do it. So he doesn't put that pressure on his kids. But he said if Jalen lived with him, he would probably think differently about that, because he says him and Maurice just has different types of sternness, right? And I thought that, like, he's right. Like, it's easy to be your homie, your friend. I don't have to raise you and enforce rules and correct you. So, of course, you're going to like me. And so they said Marceau is like the fun nephew, the fun uncle, the fun dad. He's the fun cousin. Like, he's the favorite, right? So I was like, okay, Marceau has that. Okay, okay, okay. And so speaking on, let's move into the Trish, the thruple, Marquez, Ken, and Trisha. So Marceau made a very interesting point. He said Trisha went from her marriage, right, to Ken, just one relationship to another. He says she needs a break. She needs to have fun. She wants to have fun. And there's some clip, I guess we may see it maybe this weekend, from her birthday party, her Western themed birthday party. She gonna be like freaking all on on Kimmy, and it's gonna be giving I want to hop in the lady pond vibes. She wants to have fun. She want to do stuff she hasn't done. She needs to date so she can heal, and refocus and everything. Like sometimes you just need a break. And child, what I heard in them YouTube streets, honey, shh, come close, besties, come close. Guess what? I'm gonna save it for later. You gotta keep hearing the rest of this video. But baby, I got something to tell y'all, honey, about Ken, honey. Okay, what's next? So there apparently I couldn't find it, but they were showing the clip for next week's episode. Well, this week's episode, and there was a clip. It's at Trisha's birthday party, and Maurice and Marceau are talking to Ken, and Maurice is telling Ken that he's intervening in Trish and Marquez's marriage. They're still married. You kind of pretty much like you need to back off. And he's kind of giving him, the legal woes of things. He said, you're in this relationship and you're highly invested in the kids and paying bills and taking care and moved in. But Maurice says if something happens to Trisha, they gonna call Marquez. He has rights to her, not you. And Ken goes with that. Oh yeah, I know there's like a little technicality. Sir, there is no technicality. You're the technicality. Ken, you are. And it doesn't matter how many bills you're paying, how much time you spending. Trisha is not your wife. And Trisha does not want to marry you anytime soon. I'll say that. Something happens to her, Marquez can put you out of that house. Well, if they were in California, Georgia may have different laws, but here in California, Marquez would have rights of putting Ken out. And actually, I think he could put Ken out today. Because he has rights. Okay. So Ken said he ain't taking no relationship advice from none of them Scots, none of them married Scots. I was like, okay, you don't have to. You ain't taking no advice from your homeboy Will. You won't take advice from Chris either. Martell, you are not taking advice from anybody. You're not. Not even whoever, yourself. So, child, the ex-chef from Black, I didn't catch his name. He took his video down, but honey, he let us know he had to get up out of Black. He was the chef. He was like, this is a place for drunk married men to come have fun. He said he had to get out of there. I don't know if he got fired or whatever, but let me tell you what he said. This is the gag, y'all. He said he would have to go buy groceries to cook food at Black. He would go buy the food and they would pay him back. And child, he said they still owe him for some catfish. And I'm sitting here like, So, come on, Tisha. How you gonna open up a business that serves liquor and food? Do you go to the liquor store and buy your bottles? Do you go to Costco and buy your liquor? You are supposed to have vendors, distributors that come and deliver. You don't know how to get an account with Cisco? What is going on? So ghetto. But he on Carlos's live yesterday. He's at the airport because him and MJ are flying back home from Rome. He took MJ to go see Kendrick Lamar in Rome, but you can't pay. You don't know how to operate a business. And he really wouldn't speak on the married men hang out at Black. Now, for a minute there, I heard married men hang out in Brazil, honey, Dominican Republic. So now Black in Alabama? Okay. So did y'all hear yesterday that the legendary R&B singer Monica is married, honey? They went live, honey. Her husband, Anthony Ant Wilson, gave kudos to the courthouse for getting them in and out. They were dressed in, their gear, the wedding gear. She had on a black dress. And I'm like, here we go with these black dresses, child. But honey, they've been dating since October 2023. And Anthony Wilson is Monica's artist manager. So congratulations to Monica. New man, new tour. What's up? So, child, last but not least, Toni Braxton allegedly is broke again. Tamar helps out financially. They are struggling trying to keep their lifestyles afloat, and they take care of Mama Evelyn. Because Mama Evelyn, I don't think she has an income. Not sure she gets SSI. Maybe she was a housewife all her life, having a lot of kids. I'm not sure, but she seems like she don't have an income. And so, Tamar is working hard. And, she can be a lot of things. But what she going to do, she taking care of business. Tamar got that show. What is it called? Tammy does the relationship side of it. What is it called? Caught in the Act, Unfaithful is what Tammy does. And there's a new show that Tamar hosts, Caught in the Act, something about living a double life. She's doing that. She's singing and touring. She's on, I don't think she's on Dish Nation anymore, but I do see her on Miss Pat Settles It, her court show. Heck of funny, y'all. And I see Tamar all the time. So she's working it and getting it, and she's probably the highest grossing sister. Well, I'm only bringing that up because we're going to be, I'm recapping the show. It starts, season 2 of the Braxtons comes back in October. I believe Tawanda will be getting married, and she does not invite Tamar. As you can tell, she doesn't like Tamar. And, she got these boundaries now. So when we hear about Trina and Tawanda, they're not helping out. And I'm like, and Trina got that cooking show over there, and they say her man is got some money. And then Tawanda got a dude. Why y'all not helping Evelyn out? And Toni trying to live out there with the Kardashians. She lives out there in Calabasas. And honey, the comments were saying that Toni needs to pack up and move to Atlanta. She does have an Atlanta house, I believe, right? Because when they had whatever the first Braxton show was, they was always back and forth, Atlanta to LA, and then they would go up to Baltimore to film Tracy. So that's all I got, y'all. Thank you for hanging out. I just want to update y'all on what was going on. I'm off today. And I said, let me get on here and holler at the besties, honey. So what I have to say next, honey, come close, because it's all alleged. Drop down the comments. Let me know what you think about all these topics. Like the video and make sure you subscribe to my channel, and make sure your notification bell is on so that you know each and every time I post my content. Now come here, besties. Child, I'm about to say this and I'm about to click off. Child, they said Ken is single, but Carlos would not confirm because he wants you to tune in. But baby, Ken is single, allegedly. All right, besties. Bye, besties.